Hello, beautiful divine one. My name is Melissa Claire, and welcome to this Energetics of Abundance Masterclass. I am very excited to share this information with you. You know, it's been really 13 years in the making to come to this pinnacle that you are watching now in this incredible masterclass. And so this is really for you if you are a woman, a female entrepreneur, a leader, a visionary, if you work as a sales professional, if you are a professional and you need to show up for your business, especially online, you need to be present, show your face, make content. If you need to show up for your clients, for your potential sales, if you really need to be showing up for you, right? So today and age, that can also mean, you know, you're a mother and you run a business and you want to push through these blocks that have been holding you. You want to break free from your past perceptions so that you can really attract in more abundance, more sales, and feel really great about it. Can I get a yes? Because, you know, I've been an entrepreneur for over 2 decades. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Before I do that, I want to tell you this is not for you if you're looking for a get-rich scheme. If you're looking for the online strategies to build your online business, like, you know, when to post and what hashtags and so on and so forth. This is really not about the strategy. This is the mindset, the energy alignment, the identity shift that needs to take place so that you put those strategies in action. And so a little bit about me. I've been an entrepreneur for over 2 decades. And my first business, I moved to Cancun, Mexico, where I'm at right now in a beautiful penthouse on the beach in the lagoon in front of me. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see a lot of behind scenes. 25 years ago, I met my late and beautiful husband, who has now passed away, in Miami. And I always knew that I was going to marry an older man. I always had this feeling inside of me that I would have this incredible, exciting life. You know, growing up in the 90s in South Florida, I was around photographers and models, and that's when the industry was really down there. And so I wanted to be a photographer, and I wanted to be a fashion photographer. But I met my husband, and I moved to Cancun. I didn't speak Spanish. I only spoke French, which is a whole nother story. I learned French working as a photography assistant in Paris, and then I met my husband, moved to Cancun, and I began a photography company. And I was really one of the only female entrepreneurs that I knew. I was especially one of the few women working in my social economic class in Mexico in the early 2000s. And I was most definitely a woman that was working with a husband who had money, so that was very weird. And I always used to have people say to me, like, why do you work if your husband's rich? And, you know, I would get a lot of backlash from society and also from my dear late husband, because it was a disrespect if I was working because he was the provider. So of course this created stories in my mind, but I kept going. I kept moving forward because I was born in the US. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. My dad always encouraged independence, but I still felt unsafe if I wasn't, you know, with a man, because that's what my mother taught me. Marry a wealthy man and you'll have an amazing life. And so that's what I did. And I still started my photography company. I became the most sought after wedding photographer and portrait photographer, working with the governor and the most wealthiest, prominent business families, which is a really big deal in Mexico, and the most beautiful locations. My biggest wedding was up to 500 people. And so I love doing weddings, except I would do sometimes weddings of foreigners, and I would show up as a blonde with my hair tied back, my 2 cameras, all in black, super serious. And the guys at the weddings would look at me. And so this would make the brides feel jealous. And so then they would like later send me an email being like, you know, you kind of ruined my wedding because people asked more about you than about my dress, or something like this. So imagine this was like my first business, and I still am amazing photographer, and I still work in branding. But imagine how I felt. I felt ashamed. I felt ashamed for being blonde. I felt ashamed for being a woman. I felt ashamed for being attractive. I felt I felt everything bad about me, and I was ruining women's weddings, despite the fact that I went and I did my most amazing work and their photos turn out great. Imagine. So this is what I want to be sharing with you. This is part of my story, and I want to talk to you about how it helped me to become the confident woman. And I also want to be explaining to you the energetics behind this, the quantum physics, so that you can put these pieces in place so you don't allow other people, other naysayers, stories, even deep generational things such as what a woman should do, shouldn't do, how she should act if she's a mother, so on and so forth. So I said, well, you know what? Screw it. If people want to look at me and I'm showing up too much, I've always wanted to be a singer. So as a young age, I used to love to sing and dance for my grandparents. I took dance classes all my life. I was in talent shows. I was in choir. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for my childhood dream. And I literally had a dream, like my mouth was open and I heard, sing, Melissa, sing. Long story short, I became a singer, and I self-produced 2 albums. I created a local celebrity using my photography, and I became a local celebrity. And of course, that got even more backlash, right? Moms didn't like me, single men would look at me, so that'd make my husband upset. My husband didn't like that I was getting more attention than him because he was the macho. And then I started to feel insecure, and I would do everything to, look famous. I would get confused. Do I show up as Melissa the mom, or Melissa the wife, or Melissa the singer? It came on so quickly, this level of fame, that it was overwhelming, and I was not prepared. So I allowed the outside world so much to influence my internal state of being. And I didn't know about the energetics of abundance, meditation, sound healing, personal development, all these tools that I've learned, because that's what I would focus on. I would focus on the negative comments. I would focus on, one time I even got hate mail on my car. I would focus on, the anger that my husband had for me if I had to go do a show and he wanted me to stay home. Things like this. And so my world crashed. My matrix fell, and actually in 2010 I really began to have this spiritual awakening, because when your matrix falls and you realize that I was actually pursuing a persona to get people to like me, but I ended up not liking myself. Have you ever done that? Have you ever tried to be perfect for your husband or your boyfriend, the perfect mom, show up perfectly on social media so that everyone will like you? And this happens in women. Women are more likely not to ask for a raise or go for the sale, because we have this cycle inside of us that we always want to create perfection, or we don't think we're enough, or there's been a lot of things that happen in us as young girls in our lives, as teenagers, in the way we look, the way we feel about ourselves. And it can be very vulnerable, to be on camera if you have to be online, if you have to be on a Zoom call with colleagues, if you have to go and show up and feel confident, even when maybe you had a difficult time at home or you're not feeling your best. It gets challenging. And that's why mindset is so essential. But the more I studied mindset, I realized that I was leaving off everything in my physical body and my energetic body. And this is all connected, right? Because your mindset is really the words that you're saying to yourself in your belief systems. But your belief systems are stored in the memory of you, in the water in your body, in your quantum field of information, in your energetic field, in your subconscious. All of this information, as we understand more about quantum physics and the information field that it is discovered, that we are frequency, vibration, and energy, and the things that we're feeling and expressing, that's continuously communicating with our outside world. And so this is the first lesson that I want to be sharing with you, because this information shifted my life so much. It changed my reality. And it's really given me the confidence to continue creating my online brand, despite the fact that inside so many times I didn't think I was good enough. I would start things and not finish because I wouldn't get the results super quickly. So I thought, well, I'm not smart enough. So I would study more. I would get more certifications. I would read more books. It was like this pit of endless studies to really believe that I could be of service. And so maybe you can remember a time when you were just a little girl and you really loved to do something and you started something and you were so enthusiastic about it. You know, maybe it was your first business, maybe it was something that you tried in high school, maybe it was a hobby you took up, guitar, dance, and you were just super enthusiastic about it. And then comments or mean things or life circumstances made you believe that your desires to do that or you were good enough, and so you gave up. And you went back to a safe place where you felt safe because you were just being in the norm. And this happens. So I want to help you in this first one to literally shed the weight of your past, energetically and physically. So in order to shift your attention from what is not going right and what you were perceiving from your past self-perceptions. In order to shift that, you really need to shift your energy, and you need to be able to really see yourself. You need to really be able to witness yourself. And sometimes that can be a little difficult if you're not prepared. Coaching is a process. So I want to take you on this process that I take my clients through. And it's a discovery process of you. And of course, you are going to have wounds that you can't see, just like I have wounds still, and I had a lot of eternal wounds. And so I want to help you to bring some of that weight off so that you can more easily begin this process of really bravely breaking free from your past perceptions, so you can really step into that next level abundance. Does that sound good? All right, let's get started. So I'm excited to be sharing with you this first process in this series. And this process actually has 3 steps. So I want you to have a pen and a paper or your journal out, and I want to just dive right in, okay? So this is going to help you both energetically and physically shed the weight from your past. So if you follow this has the potential to help you probably lose 5 pounds within the next week, but it's also going to be shifting the energetic connections, the self-identity connections that you have to these past perceptions of yourself, okay? So the first and foremost thing you want to do is have your piece of paper, have 2 pieces of paper if you can. I want you to identify your limiting beliefs and your stories, or these like situations that you keep finding yourself in, these cycles of reality, these guilts and these shames and these judgments, because sometimes you have like belief systems that are going to get you in a certain situation so that you can keep that belief system going, right? So let's talk about abundance. You have, I only can make $3,000. I only attract clients who are really hard to get those really big sales. I only make money from this type of person. I feel like this because so-and-so made me feel like that. Like these stories and these shames that you continuously replaying. Okay, this is going to take some time. So you can either put it on pause right now and do this exercise. And I want you also to draw what looks like a backpack. And that's where you're going to be putting inside that backpack symbols or words that represent these beliefs and these guilts and these shames and these stories, because your mind sees in symbols. So if it was a heartbreak and your ex-boyfriend or your ex-husband or whatever told you something about you and it broke your heart, put a broken heart and know what that is. Let's say you have a money and money, what's your story about that? You make your face, if someone told you that you have buck teeth and that made you insecure to show up online and that's why you're not showing up every day, put a picture of your face with big teeth. okay? Because your mind, this is all in your subconscious. In order to make it conscious, you want to be bringing it down to paper and putting it in a symbol in this backpack. Because what would happen if you were literally walking and you were taking a tour and you had a backpack on and your backpack was full of rocks? And you're carrying around these rocks and they're just pulling you backwards, and it's so hard to move forward and it's so heavy. And then every time you open up your backpack to get your water, you see the damn rocks. And they remind you of, God, my life sucks because of this and because of that. These are the rocks. These symbols are the rocks that are holding you down, right? So, number 2, I want you to practice this every single morning once you've filled your backpack, okay? When you wake up in the morning, I want you to tap your heart and say, I love my life. I love my life. And I just want you to think of so many things that you love about your life, okay? And then I want you to imagine that backpack that you filled up, that it's outside, and that the universe is taking care of it. It's outside your door, it's outside your window, it's no longer with you. You're lessening that attachment to it energetically. It's crazy, but your mind works in such interesting ways, and that's why these symbols and these pictures are so important, because your mind sees in pictures. So that backpack with all those troubles and all those attachments and all those stories, it's outside. And the universe is taking care of it. It's being taken care of, okay? It's getting rained on. It's transmuting. So I want you to do that for 5 days. Just, I love my life, and just imagine this backpack being outside. Now, the other thing I want you to do for 5 days when you wake up, so that you can start to shed the weight and you can start to say yes to new things and no to things that do not serve you, that you've been doing all this time, right? Because your personal reality creates your personality. That's what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. So the way you think, the way you feel, and the actions you're taking are creating your personal reality, and they're creating your personality. It's intertwined. So if you really want to become this next person, you want to shift away from that identity and all those things in that backpack. You also want to start to shift away what's not serving you. And this is like a cleansing process. This is a process. So stick with me till the end during this Masterclass series, and you will have an incredible transformation. I want this for you. Every morning, water with lemon. Hot water is better with lemon. If you could put ginger, some cinnamon in it, drink it. Put more turmeric in your food, more water. I want you to drink more water, especially when you wake up, the hot water with lemon and ginger. And say no to these processed foods. Say no to the processed chocolates. Say no to the junk food. Say no to the shit food. Say no and yes to your health. Yes to your beauty. Yes to your cleansing. Start saying yes more to what you know is good for you, and no more to what you know is not good for you. And this is really going to start to shift your mind, and it's really going to start to shift your consciousness, and it's really going to start to shift your conscious awareness. So, list of paper, draw a picture of a backpack. In that backpack, put symbols that represent different beliefs, stories, guilts, shames, anything that's weighing you down that you don't want to bring into your future. You don't want to show up as the future you with a freaking old backpack with a bunch of rocks, right? I also want you to, in the morning, wake up. I love my life. Think about all the reasons why you love your life. Every single reason. First and foremost, because you woke up. And imagine that backpack outside. It's outside somewhere, and the universe is taking care of it. It's going to higher levels of consciousness. It's gone. It's outside. It's not within you. Saying that, when you wake up, lemon with water, more no to junk food. You can go as strict as you want. If you want to have no breads, do something that's going to break up your diet. Because more fruits, more veggies, more juices, no processed food, nothing that makes you feel bad, right? Do this for 5 days. And I will be in touch with you. Leave me a comment if you have a question. Oh, I almost forgot. At the end of the 5 days, I want you to burn the picture of the backpack. You're going to tear it up out of your journal, and you're going to burn it. And you're going to imagine all of that energy transforming, okay? I hope this serves you at your highest and that you attract so many new higher possibilities. Stay tuned for more. Like I said, this is a process, and this is the first step in the process for you becoming an energetic match for more sales, more abundance, and really setting yourself free, breaking free from those shackles of your past perceptions and that past identity that no longer is needed where you're going in the future. My name is Melissa Claire, and I can't wait to see you and meet you soon. Please connect with me in social media, say hello, let me know who you are, and I'll see you on the next one.